Warm greetings from the high 10. It is Everyday Shenanigans, and thanks for joining me on this balmy, hot day in the high 10. Yes, it is hot in the high 10. Hope you all are well, staying cool. Happy holidays to everyone. This is the 4th of July weekend coming up. The 4th is on Sunday. Hope you all will be safe, watch the children, and have a great time. Don't drink and drive. Get a designated driver if you're going to be out lollygagging around with your friends and family this weekend. Please be safe. Thank you all so much. Hello, Dime a Dozen. Hello. This live will be a bit winded because I have a lot of information to bring to you pertaining to the collapse of the Champlain Tower down in Surfside, Florida. So I have different sources I want to bring to you guys. So I'm going to jump right on in and get started. Right now, there's an issue with the gas. The price of gas has gone up. It never went back down as promised. And I'm going to bring you that set information for those of you who may be driving to certain locales this weekend and other places. CNN is the source. Gas stations are running out of gas ahead of the holiday weekend. When tens of millions of Americans hit the road this holiday weekend, they're going to find the highest prices for gasoline in nearly 7 years. But many will also find stations that don't have any gas at all. The national average price for a gallon of regular stands at $3.10, the highest since October 2014. The average is up just 2% since Memorial Day, but 42% from a year ago when pandemic restrictions brought demand to a near halt and sent oil and gas prices plunging. But stations running dry has nothing to do with the price or even the supply of gasoline. It's the shortage of tank truck drivers, coupled with rising demand that is causing supply chain bottlenecks and shortages. Experts say a growing number of stations are reporting that they are simply not able to get gas delivered at any price. Right now, the outages are scattered across the country, says Tom Close, the global head of energy analysis for the Oil Price Information Service, which tracks prices for AAA. He said there have been outages reported in the Pacific Northwest, Northern California, Colorado, and Iowa. There are also outages reported in Indianapolis, Columbus, Ohio, and said Patrick DeHaan, spokesperson for Gas Buddy. It used to be an afterthought for station owners to schedule truck deliveries. Now it's job number one, Closer said. What I'm worried about for July is the increased demand works out to about 2,500 to 3,000 more deliveries needed every day. There just aren't the drivers to do that. Current U.S. gasoline demand is virtually the same as it was in the same period of 2019, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. But overall demand is up 16% from the end of last year, the last time there were this many travelers on the road during a holiday season. AAA forecasts that 43.6 million Americans will travel by car this 4th of July weekend, the most so far this year. And given the pent-up desire for summer getaways, Closer said it's possible that demand for gas could top the records that were in the late summer 2019. He's also concerned that when drivers see the occasional station without gas, they will react by topping off their tanks more often than necessary, which itself can cause a shortage of gasoline. That's what happened this past May when the hack of Colonial Pipeline caused widespread outages at stations along the East Coast. We have the same advice we had then. This is not the time to fill up every car you have and every container you have, said Jeff Leonard, Vice President of Strategic Industry Initiatives for the National Association of Convenience Stores. We hate to see shortages and outages caused by drivers panicking and topping off their tanks. A shortage of drivers is a problem throughout the trucking industry, but it takes special qualifications to drive a tank truck, which makes the shortage worse than in other sectors. According to the National Tank Truck Carriers, the industry's trade group, somewhere between 20% to 25% of tank trucks nationwide are parked heading into summer due to scarcity of qualified drivers. At this point in 2019, only 10% of tankers were sitting idle for that reason. We've been dealing with the driver shortage for a while, but the pandemic took that issue and statusized it, says Ryan Streblow, Executive Vice President of the NTTC. It certainly has grown exponentially. Basically, they're short drivers. I'm not going to finish reading because I have so much more to bring you pertaining to this building down in Florida. If you need verification, log on to CNN News. So basically, the issue is not the petrol. It's they don't have qualified drivers to drive the tank trucks. So I will be praying for everyone who drives and has to put gas in their car. I'm going to now go into my commentary pertaining to the kids, not the kids. Oh Lord, my brain. I got so much on my mind right now. I'm trying to do, and I can't get help with what I'm trying to do. So I've got like thousands of things in my brain. Excuse me. Talking about the kids is what's one of the problems. Because I was wanting to take a day trip today, but I don't know. Can't get anyone to hop aboard. But they know how to ask for everything else. Okay. I'm going to bring you play-by-play of what is right now being said pertaining to the Champlain Tower in Florida. New York Times is the source. Condo president warned residents in April of worsening damage. Oh, mercy, don't do this. Now, Alexa don't want to open up. Hold on. They want you to pay for everything now. These articles. The president of the condo building that collapsed in Surfside, Florida, warned residents that the damage in the building had gotten significantly worse since it was highlighted 2018 inspection. Here's what you need to know. Months before the building's collapse, a condo official warned. This is not going to let me in. I see this now. Sorry about this. Okay. The building has gotten significantly worse in recent years. 6 days and millions of pounds of concrete later, rescuers say they're not giving up. Biden will be visiting Florida on Thursday. I have to keep hitting it to open it back up because it won't let me log it up. There's a fence full of pictures and flowers. And Miami Beach has canceled the July 4th fireworks. For those who are in Florida and wanting to see the fireworks, I'm going to have to go in another article because this one is just, it's not letting me open for some reason. Thank you all for joining me. Yeah, well, Tina, I don't want to take it solo because I don't want to be in certain places by myself. So I prefer to have somebody, but I really don't want people in my business either because people talk so much these days. I learned that today. No privacy doing anything. Never seen a world where people can't hold damn water. Okay. This is like, no, this New York Times is not letting me get one article up. This is weird. Hold on a minute. Let me see if it'll stay up. Because for some reason, this New York Times won't stay on my screen. For some weird reason. It wants you to pay. Just to read an article. Jesus Christ. What in? Okay. Everything's about the New York Times. I guess I need to find some other articles that don't have New York Times in them. I'm just going to bring you the other news I've got because I can't seem to get it to load up. New York Times wants me to pay for everything. Okay, a letter was sent months before the collapse of the building. CNN is the source. A correspondence from the board president of Champlain Tower South, which unexpectedly crashed to the ground last week in Surfside, Florida, describes the progression of decay at the building since 2018, saying the observable damage, such as in the garage, has gotten significantly worse since the initial inspection. Board President Gene Watnicki addressed the letter to neighbors April 9th. The concrete deterioration is accelerating. The roof situation got much worse, so extensive roof repairs had to be incorporated, says the letter acquired by CNN's Aaron Burnett out front. Watnicki further describes issues facing the building, saying, when you can visually see the concrete spalling, cracking, that means that the rebar holding it together is rusting and deteriorating beneath the surface. A structural field survey performed in 2018 by Morabito Consultants found several things wrong with the building, including major structural damage below the pool deck, according to the report. The failed waterproofing is causing major structural damage to the concrete structural slab below these areas. In a statement to CNN, since the collapse, Morabito Consultants wrote that the report details significant cracks and breaks in the concrete. The report didn't say whether the structure was at risk of collapse, but the group said it provided an estimate to the condo association to make the extensive necessary repairs. The April letter seeks to explain a $15 million special assessment to condo owners that will be discussed in an upcoming meeting. The initial scope of the 2018 work estimate had expanded, the letter says. Other previously identified projects have been rolled under the main project. New problems have been identified. Also, costs go up every year. This is how we have gone from the estimated 9 million plus $128,433.60 cited in Morabito's 2018 report to the much larger figure we have today, it says. The board later approved the $15 million in repairs, according to an assessment letter obtained by CNN. CNN has reached out to representatives of Champlain Tower South Condominium Association for further comment. So a letter was sent to the residents in April notifying them of damage to the place, rebar, concrete, spalling, which means cracking, and naturally, you see the end result of a decaying building. The whole damn building came down. Never fails. Okay. Going to bring you information also pertaining to what the manager had to say, the maintenance manager. I don't know why. None of my articles want to come up for some reason. This is weird. Everything jumps up besides what I'm supposed to be looking at. The Daily Mail is the source. Former maintenance manager at the collapsed Miami condo building, says its basement would flood with up to 2 feet of seawater every month when he worked there. Former maintenance manager at the Miami condo building, which collapsed last week, claims his basement flooded every month during the 5 years he worked there. William Espinosa said the basement of Champlain Tower South was regularly inundated with salt water, which can corrode concrete and rebar metal rods inserted into concrete to strengthen it during construction. Espinosa, who worked at the Dune building between 1995 and 2000, told CBS Miami, at any time that we had high tides away from the ordinary, any king tide or anything like that, we would have a lot of salt water coming in through the bottom of the foundation, he told CBS Miami, adding that they had to use 2 large pumps to try to remove the rising water. But it was so much water all the time that the pumps never could keep up with it. So we always had to be replacing pumps, and the water would just basically sit there and then would just seep downward, he said. So now I had to ask myself, what is downward? Where is downward? Seep downward where? Very interesting. It would just go away after a while. And I would think, where does that water go? Exactly. That's what I want to ask. That's what I'd like to know. This conversation is very strange to me because it doesn't have a definitive answer, which is why the damn building is down. Because it had to go in through somewhere. I'm talking about a foot, sometimes 2 feet of water in the bottom of the parking lot, the whole parking lot. The basement of Champlain Tower South was used as a parking lot and also housed maintenance facilities. Video footage of last Thursday's collapse suggests the building began to crumble from its basement, although investigators say it's too early to say what caused the disaster. Espinosa spoke as Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava confirmed that the death toll from last Thursday's disaster has risen to 11. She made the announcement on Monday, but offered no further detail on the latest victim, with 150 people still unaccounted for. Espinosa, who had a team of 3 maintenance workers, also told CBS Miami how he could regularly see exposed rebar rods poking out of corroded concrete. He claimed he would plaster over it with cement in a bid to fix it. The bars, which cannot be seen from intact, structurally sound concrete, would then appear in other parts of the 12-story building's basement, Espinosa said. He added, but nothing like a real big crack or anything like that, he said. My biggest issue, which it was just the water. The amount of water would come in there. It was all salt water. It was coming from the ocean. I don't know how deep that goes, but it had to go through somewhere after the fact because we couldn't get it pumped out. When he raised the issue to officials at the condominium association and building managers, Espinosa was told that it's always been like that, and the only solution is to replace the pumps and keep pumping out the water, which he called an endless cycle. Every month we had a problem with this again. Water. And I go, this is just not normal. This is too much water. Espinosa spoke days before a contractor made similar claims to the Miami Herald about a visit to the complex last week, just 36 hours before its collapse. The contractor, who visited to assess cosmetic repairs to the swimming pool, told of his shock at seeing standing water in the parking garage. He also claimed staff told him the pumps used to suck out flood water from Champlain towers were used so regularly they had to be replaced every 2 years. There was standing water all over the parking garage, said the contractor, who requested not to be identified in a Miami Herald article. He added that there was cracked concrete and rusted over rebar under the pool. Salt water is corrosive to concrete, and that's what I was going to say. It's salt. We know what salt does to the human body. We know what salt does to a wound, help heal the wound. Now imagine concrete, you just assuming because it's concrete, it's going to last. That's an assumption. But as you see, it is the wrong assumption. Salt water is corrosive to concrete, especially in decades-old structures where the material is more porous than that which is used today. When concrete is exposed to salt water for an extended period of time, it dries and leaves salt crystals that eat away at it. This eventually leads to the exposure of the rebar inside the concrete or the mesh steel used to keep it in place. When that steel rusts, it expands and breaks apart the surrounding concrete even more. This creates a damaging cycle that could cause the structure to weather away and perhaps collapse in years or decades' time. According to the Herald, the contractor visited the condo a week ago so he could put in a bid to restore the pool and its equipment as part of a recently launched multi-million-dollar restoration project. He noted that he worked in the industry for decades and went to some scary places, but was shocked by the infrastructure issues he saw at the Miami condo building's lower level. He raised his concerns to a building staff member who told him it was just a matter of waterproofing the interior. I thought to myself, that's not normal, the contractor said. The staff member also told him that they pumped water out of the equipment room so often they needed to replace the pump every 2 years. He took some pictures for his supervisor because he said the job required more efforts than he thought. In one snap shared with the Herald by the unnamed contractor, the rusted metal rebar can be seen poking out through the corroded concrete. It is not visible in undamaged concrete. Take a note of that. It is not visible in undamaged concrete. The building caved in 2 days later before the contractor assembled his bid. I wonder if this was going on in other parts of the building and caused this collapse, he told the Miami Herald. Officials won't yet comment on what exactly brought the 40-year-old tower down, but experts who have viewed footage of it says it started with a problem in the bottom of the building, perhaps the parking garage, and once that crumbled, huge swaths of the building came down with it. An engineer called Frank Morabito identified spalling cracking in the columns in the Champlain Towers South Parking Garage in 2018 report. He flagged a major area around parking spot 78, which is directly under the pool deck. Lord have mercy. Where the contractor also noted seeing the deepest puddle of standing water. He also found damage elsewhere and recommended $12 million worth of repairs, but nothing was done until this year, when the Condo Association Board planned to overhaul the property to meet its 40-year recertification requirements. Morabito broke his silence on Monday to release a statement saying he recommended changes 3 years ago to the Condo Association, a board of 7 volunteers, 5 of whom were living in the building and 1 whom remains missing. The cost of repairs he suggested was $12 million, which would have to have been paid with money raised through fees levied. Morabito Consultants was retained in 2018 by the Champlain Tower South Condominium Association to prepare the 40-year-old recertification of the condo building. We completed our inspection and provided our report to the Condo Association October 8, 2018, detailing our findings and recommendations. We provided the Condo Association with an estimate of the probable cost to make the extensive and necessary repairs, among other things. Our report details significant cracks, breaks in the concrete, which require repairs to ensure the safety of the residents and public. Champlain Tower South Condo Association engaged our firm again in June 2020. We're deeply troubled by this building collapse and are working closely with investigation authorities to understand why the structure failed, the statement said. The association has not yet commented on why they didn't enact repairs right away. This is by the Daily Mail. So this is what's crazy. Yeah, plaster. So common sense. You don't have to be a rocket scientist, college educated to know when you see rebar, when you see metal exposed, something is amiss. It's just like if you see rust on a car. Common sense should tell you. When you see rust, water will find its way inside of a car. I don't care if it's on the top of your car, the top of your hood, your trunk, door, the back of the car, side of the car. The car's rusting. Duh. The car is corroding. Doesn't matter that it's still running. Doesn't matter if the engine's working. The point is, moisture will be able to get inside of your car. That's anything. Same with a building. Metal, concrete, holding up a building. Well, naturally, your foundation is what holds a building. So your foundation is leaking. Water seeping inside, rather. And the fact that they had feet of water inside of the garage or whatever basement is baffling to me. And this is what I'd like to know. Did you all ever tell whoever owns the building, the board, when you found out, did you tell the residents you really had a problem with the water coming in the basement? Because I refuse to believe that people lived in the building and never went to the basement, never went to the garage. I refuse to believe that people didn't drive cars. This is Florida, beautiful state, scenic tours. Most people are going to drive, especially if you have that kind of money to afford $500,000 damn apartment. You're going to have a car. There's no way you're not going to have a car. So that way you go down to that basement, you can see the water. Oh, wait a minute. Where's this water coming from? You didn't go inquire. You didn't call the board to say, hey, where's this water coming from? And if this is true, what this manager is saying, this maintenance manager, former manager, maintenance manager, if it's true that this damn place was sucking up water every damn month, why were you people still living in that building? Why are you all still in the building? I would have forfeited that condo, Johnny on the spot. Soon as I saw water in the basement, parking garage, whichever water I saw first. When I see it month 2, I'm already leery. Okay, there's a problem here. So you're not going to keep taking my money in condo fees. I'm out of here. Now we have to worry about the other condo that's a block away. The sister tower. I have an article pertaining to that. This one will really blow your mind. They don't want to leave the damn building. Well, you go on and stay in there if you want to. Now, I don't want to get rude and nasty pertaining to this article because there are some dead people in that rubble. One lady's lost her leg. They cut her leg off to pull her out. One boy was pulled from the rubble. His mama is deceased. And you dingbats at the other building talking about you want to stay. Now, you know that building was built, maybe a year after this building. So you want to stay in a building that was built, like they said, with the same materials, same foundation, naturally, same people built it. They didn't go get Pookie from Italy or Pookie from Europe to build it, or Mexico. Same people, same platform. So you want to stay there, go and stay in there. Because I got a funky feeling anybody within a 10-mile radius of that building that's living in another building, I bet you they're putting their condo up for sale. Because what they're thinking about is, the hell if I'm going to get stuck in some rebar and concrete just to say I live in a skybox in Florida. Excuse my attitude. There is no way I'm getting ready to be that ornery and say, well, I'm going to stay because I don't think my building is in that bad a shape. Well, honey, you stay there. You want to worry your family about possibly your building collapsing? That's on you. But that's a very honorary attitude to have, considering this building just came to the ground and they're still digging through it. And if you actually open the videos and watch them stand around with a dog looking, you don't even know where to start. I watched a video today and I'm sitting here looking like, where do you begin? The dog is running around on top of a pile of concrete, metal, waiting to see if he can hit on life in the rubble. And they're having to take piece by piece and put it over to a crane, whatever, get a crane to get the largest pieces to put over to another truck, whatever, and piece by piece, put it over to another truck, put it over to another truck. And yet somebody would say in the second building, oh, I ain't going nowhere. Well, don't go nowhere. You stay on in there. You go and stay in there. And I wouldn't care if I lived in a building that wasn't built by the same company that built this building. It wouldn't matter to me at all. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that ocean in a building, period. Because I would view it as this. If it happened to them, who's to say it wouldn't happen to the building I'm in? I'm not an architect. And I'm not going to risk my safety and livelihood just to live in some skybox with a view of the ocean, because I think I know more than the average person. But you all do what you want down there in Florida. Or you think this is a joke? Okay. Let me read this to you so you can get a good bullseye view of how goofy these people are down here. Fears aside, no mass exodus from collapsed buildings twin. This is by the Associated Press if you need verification for the story. About a block from the Miami area beachfront condominium tower that collapsed sits its sister building, erected a year later by the same company using the same materials and a similar design. It has faced the same tides and salty air. This has made some residents of Champlain Towers North worried enough to leave, though most have remained, saying they are confident their almost 40-year-old 12-story building is better maintained. They say their building doesn't have the same problems with cracking in support beams and in the pool area that 2018 engineering report showed the South Tower had. The collapse of Champlain Towers South and town of Surfside on Thursday has drawn attention to older high-rise buildings throughout South Florida and prompted Miami-Dade Mayor Daniela Levine Cava to order a 30-day audit of whether such buildings under her jurisdiction are complying with the required certification of structural integrity at 40 years. She said she wants any issues raised by inspections to be immediately addressed. She's also urged municipalities within the county to follow suit. Miami, for example, has launched a 45-day audit of buildings 6 stories and higher that are 40 years old or older. So let me repeat, a 45-day audit of buildings 6 stories and higher that are 40 years old or older are to be addressed immediately with inspections. Inspectors performed a quick hit examination of the North Building, and Surfside Mayor Charles Perkins said nothing was found that indicates the tower is in danger of collapse. That didn't reassure everyone. I'm petrified of returning, said Rebecca Weinstock, a snowbird who bought a 6th-floor condo in the North Building 4 years ago with her husband. She is in New York, where she was when the South Tower collapsed early Thursday, killing at least 11 people and leaving 150 missing. While she agrees the North Building is well maintained, she said that's not enough to satisfy her that it's completely safe. It was completed in 1982, 1 year after the South Tower, and built by the same developer, Nathan Reber, through his firm, Natal Construction. The possibility that the collapse was caused by a design or construction flaw means she won't be returning anytime soon. I'm out my investment. I'm out my apartment. I'm out my future. But we are talking about lives here, she said. The only way she'll return, she said, is if 2 independent engineers, not from South Florida, agree it's safe. Amen. North Tower residents who want to temporarily relocate are being offered federal assistance just as survivors from the South Tower are. But most residents interviewed Monday are taking the position of Philip and Noah Zine, who are staying put in their 5th-floor condo. The Zines bought their condo 12 years ago and have lived there full-time for 6. They have several friends and acquaintances who live in the South Tower and remain missing. I've never seen any major structural issues in the North Building, said Philip Zine, an attorney. I'm not worried at all right now. I do want to get a full structural engineering and forensic examination done. Zion said he's seen numerous inspectors in his building since the collapse and only a small number of people packing up to go. It's not a mass exodus by any means. I'd say maybe a quarter of the building has left, he said. Solomon Gold, who spent 10 years as a condo association president for the North Tower and 20 on the board, is convinced the building is safe, saying he and the other board members never skimped on maintenance. He compared the building collapse to airplanes. Just because one crashes doesn't mean others of that same make and model will. We are in good shape, said Gold 89. The current condo association president, Noam Lusky, declined comment Monday. Surfside Mayor Burkett said a deep dive inspection of the North Tower will be conducted Tuesday by an engineering firm hired by the residents. The town will inspect other older buildings soon. Given the results of the preliminary examination of the North Tower, he said he doesn't see a reason to order an evacuation. Still, he said he's not sure he would stay there. If you asked me if I wanted to spend the night in that building, I wouldn't be willing to do that until we went through it, he said. Esther Drockman and her husband aren't taking any chances. Drockman's 91-year-old mother-in-law lives in the North Tower. My mother-in-law is bedridden, so we took her out and brought her to our house, Drockman said. We just felt like we couldn't get her out in 5 minutes if a rapid evacuation became necessary. Drockman said her mother-in-law wasn't worried or very aware of the details of the disaster. She says she and her husband are waiting to see if a thorough inspection turns up any problems. We'll see if that building's fine, Drockman said. And if it is, we'll put her back in. This is by the Associated Press. Adriana Gomez Lacon in Miami contributed to this report. So in the end, people are entitled to do whatever they want to do. If you want to stay, go. That is your prerogative. But if indeed the building is sitting, the North Tower is sitting close proximity to the water, such as the South Building, I wouldn't bet my bottom dollar. Because I'm sure there's people in the building who didn't think the building would cave in, the South Tower. They may have seen the water coming in the garage in the basement, and they may have thought, well, this is normal just because we live near the ocean, and they shucked it off as no big deal. But it is a big deal. Because in the end, I won't doubt that the North Tower is feet away from the sand and the water, such as the South Tower. So just because you don't see rebar and cracks, what does that mean? You're still near the ocean. And I got a funky feeling it's probably the same proximity as the South Tower. It's just down the block. This is a crazy story. 11 people have been confirmed deceased as of now. When I get another update pertaining to this horrific tale of Surfside, Florida, I will bring you the said information. This is just a horrible, horrible story of people trying to live and maintain. And as I state, you don't know when anything bad can happen to you. And I'm sure no one expected this. They are susceptible to hurricanes, very bad tropical weather down there, but not a whole building collapsing. And I was reading a comment on the ABC video on YouTube earlier, and someone was saying, a guy was saying, you know, man is basically uncivilized to think he can defy gravity. And I agree. You think because you put a skybox up 12 stories, 80 stories, 115 stories, that nothing bad will happen. But the thing you always have to remember, it is man who built the building. And man can also make a mistake. And things can go wrong in a building, a structure. And I think about that now. A building sitting so high up, no matter what the height is, how many floors it has, it can come down. We just don't think it can come down because we don't hear of buildings coming down. And comparing airplanes that fall out of the sky to buildings built by the same company right near the ocean is not a good and logical comparison. Yes, I know an airplane can fall out of the sky. And I know the next plane leaving the same airport won't fall out of the sky, but it's not the same situation. We're talking about two buildings a block away from each other, built a year apart, built by the same company, same materials, and near the ocean. Now, if you can tell me that that second building is a couple of streets over from that locale, then I might say it might be okay. But if it's anywhere close to that sandbox and that water, hell to the no. Yes, thank God for every day that has been given to us. Because as they say, as old black folks love to say, somebody didn't wake up this morning. Amen. You got that right. Somebody was slumbering in their sleep last week and had no idea that the building they were living in was going to come down. Somebody could have been just pulling in the parking garage. Somebody could have been just lying by the pool, in the pool. Who's to say? Now they're not here. Now we have to wait for some diligent people to go in the rubble and retrieve them out of there. And I'm telling you, it is just like what they said when you look at the pictures of that rubble. Pancake is right. You see the slabs of concrete. It is just like it is described. Pancakes sitting on top of another. Slabs of concrete like pancakes, one on top of the other. Now imagine a human life inside of that rubble. You can't. And one guy said that. I believe he lived in the building. How in the world can I think somebody's alive once I looked at the rubble? And then there were fires under there days ago. So one would have to say, if a person was up under there breathing, how would they get one out from the fire to it's rubble and it's heavy, it's concrete, it's metal. They're stuck, confined. No way to breathe. I don't want to think about it, to tell you the truth. Because when I look at the rubble, I can't imagine someone in there alive. Now it's days later. How would they be able to breathe? Lord have mercy. When I tell you God is trying to tell us something, because as of late, the past couple of days, it's been one situation after the other with this and that. The phone kept pinging yesterday with Amber Alerts out of Memphis. There's a child missing out of Memphis. Naturally, we have a child missing out of East Tennessee. Currently, car wrecks, car accidents, people killing each other, murdering each other. There's just no regard for life, be it human against human or the element saying, I've had enough. Y'all been here long enough. Goodbye. It is unreal. The stories. I just don't even know what to say anymore. I don't know what to say. Prayers to Surfside, Florida. Those who have perished in the rubble. I'm praying for the first responders who are going in diligently trying to work to get these people out of there and to get the building debris cleared up. Prayers for the families who are waiting information. Prayers for the families who have lost someone in this horrific collapse of Champlain Tower South. Prayers for Florida, because there are more skyboxes down there in that locale and Miami and other parts of Florida. Praying for the safety of those other skyboxes that are near the beach, that they will stand up and meet their inspections so people can live cohesively and safely in those said buildings. Lord have mercy. I want to thank you all for joining me. This is, it just goes to show you that you never know where you're going to be when tragedy hits. And when I look at life, how turbulent people are right now, you know, you tell yourself, well, I may try to live right, try to do good, but in the end, doesn't matter, because there's always something lurking around the corner waiting to snatch you up, put you in a bad funk, make the worst come out in you, make you act and behave and say things that you shouldn't be saying negatively, because the devil is busy and that's his job. From that very moment he was cast out of heaven, he said, to hell with all of you. I got you. I'm going to get you one way or the other. And I must say, he is working overtime. But one thing pilgrims need to understand about the devil, he don't pay you nothing. So if you decide to work for him, you're working for free. And that means you like working for free, because you're not getting anything out of it. Because what you think you're getting out of it is a skateboard ride to hell. And that's about it. Lord have mercy. Thank you, Nancy. Nancy, I'm going to holler at you in just a second. I want to thank you all for joining me. Mahogany B, if you are out there listening to this live, I gave you a way to contact me pertaining to Chad. I'm going to go in and see what updates I can see about him. Then I will bring you all that information. I will be back on in a few minutes to bring you. I want to talk about Miss Evelyn, the baby who was found dead in a shed last year here at East Tennessee. I'd like to discuss that briefly, the situation with her mother. And she will have a court appearance here coming up in a few months in September, end of September. And I want to discuss that case briefly. because it was been on my mind. And oh yes, he's the only way maker. Jesus, amen. He is the way maker. You need not depend on man, because as the scripture tells you, he will surely disappoint you. And that's the truth. I know that firsthand. You don't put your faith in man. There's nothing man can do for you. There's nothing a man or woman can do for you, because he's of the flesh, and he's going to disappoint you for that very reason. He's of the flesh. There's nothing he can do for you, period. It's nothing. It's nothing. And I feel sorry for all these people out here dealing with the problems they're dealing with. That's why I said life is short. So people don't need unnecessary problems. You know, all the things you see on social media here, the world, the illnesses with people, children, abuse of people, children, murder. Why do you want to add on to be a part of that madness when you could try to be a decent human being? But that's the problem. A lot of people don't know how to do that. They wake up, you know, full throttle, ready to get into something, stir up some mess. That's the world we're in. And they're the same people that cry all the time. Woe is me, my life. Pookie don't like me. I'm having this problem. Somebody said something about me. They did this to me. Well, what are you doing? Because maybe you're putting something out there in the world that's not so great. That's what I see with a lot of people. The main people who cry the most about being mistreated are the ones who stir up the most mess. And they stay in shit every damn day and will not own their part in being a shit stirrer. Well, own your part and stop. This world is filled of chaos. Why do you want to add to it? That building falling down there should tell you something. Some people was in there minding their damn business. Now somebody's got to dig them out. And some may have been good people, some may have been bad. Still a terrible way to go. Nonetheless, it's a terrible way to go. And only God knows why that was allowed. But as they say, don't blame God. Why blame God? Why couldn't it be the devil? Indeed. He is busy. He's at work because he knows he doesn't have a place here. So he has to use humans to do his dirty work. So I'm telling you, you need to try to do right, live right as best you can, pray, be a good citizen, do something nice for somebody without expecting anything in return. And when you realize that you can't go any further with people, hey, keep it moving. You ain't got to show out. You ain't got to clown. You ain't got to put your hands on them. Just keep it moving, because life is short and the world is chaotic enough. I hope you all have a safe weekend. The holiday is on Sunday, July 4th. Please be safe if you're going to use fireworks, or if you go to any events where there will be fireworks, drive safely. If you're going to imbibe alcoholic beverages, please have a designated driver or Uber, cab. Be safe. Be safe for the company you keep. Watch the children, mind the children. Just have a joyful holiday if you indeed celebrate Independence Day of this country. If you don't, that is it's okay too. Just please be safe out there. I will be back in a little bit. I'm getting ready to talk about Evelyn here in a second. And there was something else I wanted to do, but I'm a little bit leery about it. And I don't know if I want to talk about it yet, but anyway, kind of want it to be like a surprise, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. So anyway, thank you. If you want to donate to this channel, $ Big Angie 129 Cash App, please donate to the channel. And super chats are welcome during every live stream. Thank you all so very much. Please be safe out there. It's very warm in the U.S. this week. And I guess the Lord trying to tell us to sit down somewhere. Be still. Amen. Thank you all for joining me. Those who came in the chat briefly. I only have a few viewing, but that's okay. Thank you all. I will talk to you guys here in a bit with another live stream. This is Everyday Shenanigans.